Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture of general medicine where I make a dreadful difficult topic easy to learn. And for that, I shall be referring to this Mind Maps book for general medicine by MediStudy Go. Now, why is this a go-to resource? Because this contains every topic in very colorful, sorted and organized manner. All the topic have headings of various types which categorize the topic into a storyline and create a flow which is very easy to memorize. You can get this Mind Maps book for yourself from any e-commerce platform like Amazon, Flipkart, Dentalcart, and even the website of MediStudy Go. Let's get into the lecture for today, which is Graves' disease. According to me, every topic which we study must be studied under certain headings because that ways we can memorize the main contents of the topic and let them be answered into the question paper whenever you have an exam which is theory based. Also, studying via the headings is helpful in revision because you can easily memorize the headings, and if anything is missed, that will be very evident when you are revising the topic. So let's get into the first heading of our topic. Which shall be introduction or the definition for what is Graves' disease. So it is defined as a chronic autoimmune disorder. Two terms. First is chronic, which means long lasting for more than 6 weeks in duration. And autoimmune means that the body is acting against some of its own organ and tissues. Is characterized by hyperthyroidism, which means increased thyroid functioning and hormones, where autoantibodies attack your own thyroid gland. Pretty much understood. So it is most common in 20 to 40 years of age with a higher prevalence for females, because it's 5 times more prevalent in the female gender. Coming to the etiology of this disease, although it is an autoimmune, which is antibodies related disease, still there are going to be some etiologic agents which are going to trigger this reaction. The first is positive family history. If it runs in the family, there's a high prevalence for that to occur. Second is genetic predisposition, which is because of 2 types of genes, which is HLA DR3 and B8. So these you can remember from NEET point of view also if ever you get an MCQ question. Coming towards next cause, which is the radiation exposure, because that can lead to overstimulated activity of the antibodies, which can act against its own organs and tissues. It can be autoimmune in action and because of environmental stress. So these are generalized etiologic agents which can trigger the action of antibodies against the thyroid gland, leading to Graves' disease. Now, when we know how the disease is there in the body and what is causing it to happen, we need to know what the disease is progressing like and what is the pathophysiology. So coming to the pathophysiology of Graves' disease, there's a very normal reaction of B lymphocytes getting activated, which produces TSH antibodies, which are responsible for the action on the thyroid gland. So if you start with the first step, it is genetic or environmental factors which trigger the immune response. This triggering causes the formation of thyroid receptor stimulating type of antibodies or the TRAB antibodies. So these TRAB antibodies are formed because when B lymphocytes get activated due to the reaction of antigen presenting cells, the antigen presenting cells are going to capture any antigen or stimulating factor which is going to be present and present them to the T lymphocytes. These T lymphocytes are going to activate certain genes and actions by which the B lymphocytes are going to get increased in number, and their maturation is also going to be increased, which is mediated by factors like the BAFF-R factor and the CD20 factor. Also, CD40 and CD154 are responsible for similar reaction, wherein the production and the maturation of B lymphocyte increases. Now, if B lymphocyte are going to be in high amount, they are going to produce higher quantity of TSH antibodies or the TRAB antibodies. So these TSHR autoantibodies, they bind to the receptors which are present on the thyroid gland, which is the TSH receptor, and leads to an increased production of T3 and T4. So autoantibodies bind to the TSH receptors and they stimulate the thyroid follicles to produce an excess amount of T3 and T4. In chronic cases, when the gland is leading to hyperplastic situation and the gland is getting hypertrophied, it occurs because of overwork, which leads to eventually goiter. So it is all because of autoantibodies which are getting stimulated because of several genes like CD40, 154, CD20, which are stimulating the formation of B lymphocytes. And these B lymphocytes increase the production of autoantibodies, which act on the thyroid gland, on the TSH receptor basically, and they increase the production of T3, T4. because T3, T4 are going to think that TSH is increased and TSH is going to stimulate them. So TSH receptor being bonded upon are going to increase the quantity of T3 and T4 in the body, which if continued in chronic cases leads to hyperplasia and hypertrophy of the gland, which is known as goiter. Now, if T3 and T4 is going to be increased in the body, the brain is going to signal the thyroid that you should stop, but thyroid will not be able to stop. So the brain produces a compensatory mechanism where it tells the pituitary to decrease the TSH, because brain is going to think normally that TSH leads to the production of T3 and T4. And if T3 and T4 is more, means THS is more. So brain is going to indicate the pituitary to decrease its action. So there is going to be a compensatory decrease in the amount of TSH. So such patients are going to have a low amount of TSH and a high amount of T3 and T4. This is the diagnostic criteria for Graves' disease. Another side reaction which happens in addition to this is that the TSH receptor, which is going to get activated, it is present on orbital fibroblasts also, which is the fibroblast of the eye. So similar reaction is going to happen in the eye also, even though it is not related, because the antibodies are something which are going to be acted upon the TSH receptor. If TSH autoantibody is present, it is going to act upon every receptor which is stimulated by TSH. So it goes and attaches to the TSH receptor in the orbital fibroblast also. This leads to an increased hyaluronic acid synthesis and GAG increases. GAG is glycosaminoglycans. So increased amount leads to accumulation of these molecules in the eye cavity, which leads to swelling in the muscle and the connective tissue behind the eyes. This leads to a side feature or a clinical feature known as Graves' ophthalmopathy, wherein the patient has swollen eyes. And this situation is also known as exophthalmos, wherein the eye looks like to be protruded in nature. And it is accompanied by features like lid lag, lid retraction, and dry eyes. So the patient is going to be recommended to put artificial tears by which the hydration of the eyes can be maintained. Also, steroids and surgery can be necessary for the decompression of the eye to normal position. So this is just a side feature which happens in Graves' disease, which is Graves' ophthalmopathy, also known as exophthalmos. Now, once we know the pathophysiology of a disease, we need to know what the disease presents like and what are its clinical features. Now, since thyroid is the main controlling gland of the body and controls the action of various other hormones, so this is going to affect almost all the organ systems of the body. To eventually learn the key characteristic features of Graves' disease, you can just remember Graves. This term in itself can be used to memorize some basic characteristic features. First is G, which stands for goiter. So the thyroid gland is going to be enlarged, hyperplastic, and hypertrophied. R stands for rapid metabolism, because if T3, T4 is going to be increased, the metabolism is going to be high. Patient is going to have increased appetite, and the patient is also going to have decreased weight. So there is going to be weight loss. A stands for it being an autoimmune reaction because of autoantibodies which are being produced. V stands for the vital signs which get affected, like increased heart rate and increased blood pressure. E stands for the eye signs or exophthalmos, as we studied just now. And S stands for the skin signs. So this is how you can mention the Graves' disease and its characteristic features. If you want every detail about the organ system involved, that is just here over in the mind map. The nervous system is going to show irritability, tremors, psychosis, and hyperflexia because the muscles are going to act more. Eyes is going to show lid lag, exophthalmos, and lag ophthalmos, which is lag is going to be present. Thyroid shows diffuse or nodular enlargement in the form of hypertrophy or hyperplasia. CVS shows sinus tachycardia, which is increased heart rate, atrial fibrillation, and palpitations. This is again tachycardia. Gastrointestinal system is showing weight loss and increased appetite of the patient. Reproductive system shows deranged system, menstrual disturbances, infertility, and repeated abortions because the body is working too much and it should not. Skin and integumentary system shows pretibial myxedema, thyroid acropathy, which is clubbing is present. And general symptoms include heat intolerance. The patient feels very hot, fatigued, anorexia, and apathy. So the tissues are going to get deranged because they're functioning a lot more than what is required. After we know the clinical features of the disease, we move towards the lab investigations or the investigations we carry out to come to a confirmatory diagnosis for the said disease. So coming to the investigations, there are going to be thyroid function test as the most common and the most important one. So TSH level is going to be decreased, T3 and T4 is going to be increased. These are the main two reactions. There is going to be increased radioactive iodine uptake because thyroid gland is functioning more. So if the dye is being intaken by the body, it is going to be uptaken by the thyroid in increased quantity. TSH receptor antibody will be present and increased. Ultrasound of thyroid gland also shows the nodular growth or the enlargement of the thyroid. So this is how we can come to a confirmatory diagnosis that thyroid is overfunctioning and overworking, and T3 and T4 are increased in the body. Therefore, a confirmatory diagnosis of Graves' disease is formed. Now, after we know the diagnosis, we need to know the treatment for the patient and treat the patient as soon as possible. So the first reaction is going to be to counteract the increased T3 and T4. For that, we can give PTU, which is Propylthiouracil. This is basically a TPO enzyme inhibitor. Now, TPO enzyme is something which mediates the reaction forming the T4 and T3. So if this enzyme is blocked and inhibited, so the coupling reaction of T3, T4 formation will be stopped. And if coupling reaction is stopped, T3 and T4 will not be formed. Hence, the treatment will be successful. Secondly, you can use methimazole, which is again with the similar reaction. And it also inhibits the conversion of T4 to T3 in the peripheral organ systems and tissues. So this also decreases the overall amount of T3. Next, we give beta blockers because they control and decrease the impact of all of this on the heart and the vital organs. Lastly, radioactive iodine therapy and surgery are chosen as the option because enlarged gland needs to be treated and sometimes surgery is the only option, wherein thyroidectomy is done as in partial, subtotal, or maybe total, depending on the presentation of the disease and how much thyroid gland is affected. So this is how a patient for Graves' disease can be treated. Now, if we know what treatment is there and if the treatment is not provided, one heading which I'd like to add over here is the complications. If this treatment is not provided timely and correctly, it can lead to thyroid storm, which is excessive amount of the thyroid hormones, cardiac arrhythmias because the heart is also going to work a lot more, and there is going to be osteoporosis because the bones are also going to get impacted by eventual hormonal imbalance. And what are the dental considerations for such patients? If you have a patient who gives a history of this disease and medication, confirm the content of the medication which the patient is taking, keep it handy in your clinic, avoid any stress on the patient, use less of epinephrine, and keep a check on the tachycardia of the patient and decrease any anxiety which can be present. So this is how we can avoid any dental emergency in the dental clinic. So this is how you can wrap up the topic of Graves' disease in under 10 to 15 minutes with just one video and 2 mind maps. So a page of mind maps, and you can even choose the mind maps from the book or from the app. If you are a person who likes to read it from a hard copy, you can buy the book. If not, you can always access our resources on the app of MediStudy Go. Also, whenever you complete a topic, it is must to solve some questions so that you get an idea what sort of questions can be framed from the mentioned topic. So if I give you 2 forms of questions over here, one MCQ and one flashcard. For example, what imaging test can help diagnose the Graves' disease? So if you just flip over this flashcard in our app, you get to see the answer and explanation wherever required. So the answer says radioactive iodine can be used, wherein a scan is taken and diffused increased intake of the iodine can be seen. If you solve an MCQ, a life-threatening complication of severe hyperthyroidism is myxedema, coma, thyroid storm, hypoglycemia, or renal failure. As I just told you right now, it is thyroid storm. So you can view such questions along with mind maps in the app of MediStudy Go, which is available for iOS as well as Android users. And if you'd like to compile every topic for BDS subjects, you must subscribe to our channel on YouTube, MediStudy Go, and keep watching more such videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.